There's this Jay-Z quote that I love. It's only so long fake thugs can pretend. What does that mean? There's only so long that you can pretend to be something that you're not, right? And right now, we're seeing Donald Trump finally show the cracks. Well, he's been showing the cracks from the very beginning, but now MAGA is starting to see them. The things that they've been told for the past decade about Donald Trump, they're finally starting to see for themselves. I want you guys to see what Donald Trump says to Laura Ingraham over on Fox News. He tells her Americans basically are not qualified to work in this country. The jobs that we need going into the future, he's saying we need H1B visa holders, visa workers, because Americans are not qualified to do them. He's basically told us that we're stupid, we're incompetent, and we're unskilled.
And does that mean the H1B visa thing will not be a big priority for your administration? Because if you want to raise wages for American workers, you can't flood the country with tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of foreign workers.
You also do have to bring in talent. When
we have plenty of talented people here.
No, you don't.
We don't have talented people?
No, you don't. That is what the president just said about the American population. She said, yeah, we have talent here. No, you don't. Just keep that in mind.
No, you don't have certain talents, and people have to learn. You can't take people off an unemployment line and say, I'm going to put you into a factory where we're going to make missiles, or I'm going to put
How did we ever do it before?
Well,
I'll
give you an example. In Georgia, they raided because they wanted illegal immigrants out. They had people from South Korea that made batteries all their lives. You know, making batteries are very complicated. It's not an easy thing and very dangerous. A lot of explosions, a lot of problems. They had like 500 or 600 people, early stages, to make batteries and to teach people how to do it. Well, they wanted them to get out of the country. You're going to need that, Laura. I mean, I know you and I disagree on this. You can't just say a country's coming in, going to invest $10 billion to build a plant, and going to take people off an unemployment line who haven't worked in 5 years, and they're going to start making missiles. It doesn't work that way.
On the surface of what he's saying, he's absolutely right. You can't have people that are unskilled, that don't know the job. They just come in and they take over, right? There has to be a training period. What he's saying is, hey, we need those H-1B visa holders that are experienced in order to train our workforce. But that's not what he ran on. He said he's getting rid of all foreigners. Basically, that was the platform that he was pushing out. That's the platform that his base, that MAGA and the far-right conservatives, that's what they wanted, right? Now, what's very funny about this to me, I don't know if you guys remember this, maybe about 6 years ago, they had the Learn to Code movement, right? Where Biden was telling, hey, if your coal mine is not going to be open anymore, or if you're going to lose your farm, or if you need to pivot into work because you're not able to sustain yourself on the old energy sources, just learn the code. And what did people say? Oh, well, you can't just tell coal miners that were doing this for their entire life to just learn the code. Trump is echoing that same sentiment right now. The same sentiment that you guys said, hey, you can't just pivot automatically when Biden told you to do it. Now that Trump is telling you, hey, we don't have the skilled workers here. People are offended. But if they don't have the skills to do the job, the companies honestly don't want to invest in training people. That's just what it is, right? And I don't know if you remember, but this is the very same thing that Vivek Ramaswamy, somebody that is endorsed by Trump, he's running for governor in Ohio next year. His name is Vivek. Vivek said this very same thing about the American population. He said that there's something wrong with our culture, right? Let's check this thing out. And obviously, he receives a lot of backlash just on the surface of who he is, but he definitely received a lot of backlash based on this statement. I'm going to read it to you. It says, the reason top tech companies often hire foreign-born or first-generation engineers over native Americans isn't because of an innate American IQ deficit, a lazy and wrong explanation. The key part of it comes down to the C word, culture. Tough questions demand tough answers, and if we're really serious about fixing the problem, we have to confront the truth. Our American culture has venerated mediocrity over excellence for way too long, at least since the 90s and likely longer. That doesn't start in college, it starts young. The culture that celebrates the prom queen over the math Olympiad champion or the jock over the valedictorian will not produce the best engineers. Once again, on the surface of what he's saying is absolutely true. On the surface of what Vivek is saying is absolutely true. In America, we don't necessarily celebrate the person that is the smartest or the person that can solve 1,000 problems or do a Rubik's Cube in 8 seconds, like I saw like a 7-year-old do earlier today when I was at work. We don't necessarily celebrate that person. We celebrate LeBron James. We celebrate Serena Williams. We celebrate Tony Hawk and Shaun White and whoever it is that is the top in baseball. We celebrate athletes. We celebrate entertainers, and that's perfectly fine, right? But when it comes to actually doing the tough jobs in the world that keep the world going, not just the entertainment jobs, we need people with actual education, STEM jobs. We need sanitation workers. We don't celebrate these people in the same way that entertainers are celebrated. And it just is what it is, right? But MAGA, they don't want to hear the truth about themselves, even when it's coming from Donald Trump. Even when he turns his fire hose of vitriol on all these other communities, they clap, they cheer, they say, yeah, look at those dumb people. They don't know a thing. They can never get ahead without DEI. But when he looks at his own base and tells somebody in his base that's in media, hey, I would love to give these jobs to Americans, but they're quote unquote just not good enough. You don't have skilled workers here. Then they say, how could you ever say that? Well, I thought that Donald Trump was the truth teller. I thought he just told the old-fashioned truth. I thought that's what you liked about him. So is he underestimating the American worker to the benefit of the H1B visa holders, or is he telling the truth about the population? Because we do celebrate entertainers, and we celebrate people with education, but not nearly to the same extent. And nobody can deny that. So I want you guys to see some of the comments, some of the backlash that Trump got after he expressed his sentiment. Let's check it out. Let's see what people had to say. It says, the Gen Z stare when they hear Trump wants more H1B visas, H1Bs to build missiles. Americans have no talent. 600 Chinese students is just business. And the economy is the best ever, all in one interview. So that was a long sit down that he did with Laura Ingraham. And they talked about a bunch of different stuff, right? And this was only a segment. But like I said before, he's not upholding the values that he initially ran on. People are seeing that we're 10 months in, and the things that Donald Trump said that he was going to do that they liked, he's not doing it to the extent that they like, or he's not doing it in the way that they like. He said that he was going to get rid of H-1B visas, right? The workers. What did he do? Not get rid of it. He increased the price to $100,000. Then a couple months later goes on an interview and tells American workers that, oh, they're just not good enough. We're going to retain this talent because we have to bring it in because the American population is underskilled and uneducated. Let's check out another one. It says mass immigration, lack of housing, reduced fertility, lack of workers. What they're saying is you bring people in, they take up all the housing supply. Then they're blaming the lack of fertility for, basically all populations across the world are kind of decreasing their fertility rates. But they're saying that's why the white population that they love so much is not having kids. And that's why there's no workers. So they have to bring people in. They're saying it's a cycle. Right? And they thought Donald Trump was going to stop it. He's not stopping it, according to them. Oh, here we go. It says you went full Vivek, man. Never go full Vivek. Like I said, long before Trump said this, Vivek echoed the sentiment and people tore him up about it because Vivek is brown. So when Vivek said it, there was a little bit of credence to what he was saying, but they were not receiving the message. And even though Donald Trump is basically, they treat him like their savior. He's not, but they treat him like their savior. But they're still offended, being snowflakes. When Donald Trump, they said he's a straight shooter. He tells the truth. I don't necessarily agree. I think that we're talented enough. We have a history of doing phenomenal things in this country. We can probably figure out how to do whatever job that he's saying that we can't do, that we have to bring people here for. But at the end of the day, these jobs, they want the cheap labor. So you guys can tell me what you think. I think that this is a spit in the face to Americans, but I'm laughing in the face of MAGA, who thought that Donald Trump actually held them at a high esteem. Everybody's told them for the past 10 years, this dude does not really care about you. He's looking at you as a number in order to get him back in office, in order to help him get more money or get more power. And they thought that everybody was hating on him, and that's turning out not to be the case.